I hope that no one on this committee takes what I say defensively.
I hope no one takes what he says seriously.
Because that would hamper thought, and we desperately need thought if we're ever going to stop gun carnage.
We've been engaging in thought. Thought is what you gun control nutbars don't want. Just to let everyone know, this moron is Rick Soskis of the anti-gun group Mr. Moms Demand Action, and this is video of him testifying in front of Florida's House Judiciary Committee on February 7th, 2018. They're discussing HB 39. Now, to understand this bill, you need to understand that Florida is just one of a few states that prohibits open carrying of firearms. They do permit concealed carry with a license, but that means that you can be arrested if you show your firearm in public, even if it's by accident. Even if it's just a glimpse when the wind whips up your jacket or something. Accidental display of a firearm is an arrestable second-degree misdemeanor. HB 39 would mean that gun owners wouldn't be arrested if they accidentally and momentarily allow someone to see their firearm. They'd be fined instead. That's it. That's all we're talking about here. Keep that in mind as you listen to what Soskis is going on about.
The path we are clearly on is not working, and the deaths seem to go on and on.
Soskis, you do realize that violent crime, including those committed with a firearm, has been going down over the last quarter century, right?
I've been licensed to carry a gun for 30 years. But about 29 and a half years ago, as my 3-decade career as an emergency nurse in the TMH progressed, I came to the grown-up conclusion that carrying a gun is symptomatic of paranoid behavior, and I have not carried since.
Oh, really? And your behavior isn't at all paranoid, is it? Spinning yarns about violent carnage? Just because someone momentarily gets a glimpse of someone's gun? And wait a second. Permitted to carry a gun for 30 years, but realized it was bad 29 and a half years ago? So you carried for 6 months, but since then, for the last 29 and a half years, you've been keeping your permit up to date even though you're not carrying? Come on, this is a desperate statement of conversion. Amazing how the woo side always has to resort to that.
America is suffering from a number of things. 9/11 and other events have shaken our confidence and created fear.
And here you come right along to take advantage of all that.
We offer narrow education curricula which too often preclude discovering our passions, which can lead to depression later in life and to mass shootings.
Okay, that mass shootings bit came out of left field. What does education have to do with mass shootings? I guess when you're a gun control nutbar, you have to take any problem and turn it into a gun problem because you don't have any other support for your stupid policy.
And we suffer from failing to think critically.
Well, you're the poster child for that, aren't you?
It's no wonder that some who carry excessive fear, who possess an emotional hair trigger, the very people who should not be allowed to carry, seem obsessed with having and carrying a gun.
The reason why they're so fearful, Soskis, is that the current law in Florida is de facto gun control. Every time law-abiding gun owners leave their houses exercising their right to carry a firearm concealed as required by their permit, they run the very real risk of being arrested for a harmless accident. And this law has been abused by anti-gun police and prosecutors as a means to harass and threaten legitimate law-abiding gun owners. That's why people like these Mr. Moms Demand Action idiots don't even want this to be punishable merely by fine instead of arrest. Something that shouldn't be punished at all.
Thankfully, the vast majority of your constituents do not accept that we need to carry guns either openly or concealed.
Well, bully for them. Hey, if you're such an expert in critical thinking, how come you've never heard of argumentum ad populum? You know, the fallacy that you just engaged in? Our rights are not subject to a vote. Rights don't cease to exist merely because someone is outnumbered.
And understand that doing things only makes things worse.
Doing things only make things worse? Well, okay, how about you stop doing things then? Stay at home and leave innocent gun owners alone.
Where there are no guns, there are no gun battles. Where there are fewer guns, there are fewer gun battles.
Haven't looked at the statistics, have you? Generally, when there are fewer guns, especially as a result of busybodies like you getting laws passed, you have peaceful people having fewer guns, but the criminals have just as many guns, if not more. Remember how I said violent crime has been dropping over the last quarter of a century? Well, the number of guns went up in that same time period. People bought something like 130 million new guns during that time period. And it's been dropping in Florida since the concealed carry law was passed in 1988. Increased access to firearms has not led to a more violent society, and actually, the FBI data show that greater gun ownership is correlated with a lower homicide rate. What the truthful statement would be is, where there are no law-abiding citizens with guns, gun battles are one-sided, in favor of criminals.
Gun thefts, gun suicides, gun homicides, and accidental gun deaths.
All going down, even though there are more guns.
From the highly regarded Scientific American, quoting the Journal of Trauma and Acute Care Surgery, quote, pistol owners' fantasy of blowing away some home-invading bad guys or street toughs holding up liquor stores is a myth debunked by the data showing that a gun is 22 times more likely to be used in a criminal assault, an accidental death or injury, a suicide attempt, or homicide than it is for self-defense.
Debunked long ago. See the link in the description.
The Second Amendment talks about a well-regulated militia. We are horribly off course if we allow adolescents, now defined as below the age of 30, not 25 or 21, to carry or even use guns.
Ha! Did you hear that? He wants to stop people under 30 from having guns. By the way, you know those militiamen who grabbed their own personal firearms and took on the British in the Revolutionary War? Their average age was 17. Most were between 16 and 19. The youngest militiaman on record was Israel Trask, who joined the militia at age 10.
Gun-owning people are the militia, but they are most assuredly not well regulated, much less required to retrain weekly or monthly.
How many times do we have to go over this? Regulated did not mean then what you statists have redefined it to mean. It meant to make regular. That's how you regulate something.
Japan regulates with thought and wisdom, and they suffer 6 or fewer gun deaths per year.
Gun deaths, not overall. Their suicide rate is almost twice what it is in the U.S.
We suffer 30,000. An entire town, or a 9/11 each month.
And guns prevent hundreds of 9/11s each year. Maybe you should stop getting your data from biased, cherry-picked sources. But that would mean leaving your echo chamber and actually listening to people who aren't on your team.
Shame on us for succumbing to our emotions, our paranoia.
You're the only one I see doing that, bucko. A little later you call us paranoid bullies, but what are you? We're not the ones wanting to use force against peaceful people. We want people to be able to defend themselves from force, but you're not really against guns. You want your blessed state to have guns, and you want those guns pointed at people who engage in peaceful activity that you don't like.
And to the nefarious pressure of the NRA. It is incumbent upon you, our representatives, to respond to the will of the people and inject reason and maturity into every legislative hearing concerning gun ownership and usage.
Remember, the issue here is about not arresting people legally carrying a gun when they accidentally reveal it. Is what's gotten him and everyone else in Mr. Mom's Demand Action all riled up. By the way, check out some of the things that were said afterwards by people with some sense in their heads. They didn't need Lord Killian to tell them what the score is. The Judiciary Committee saw through this crap and approved the bill 14-6. And again, it was just about not arresting gun owners whose guns are accidentally and momentarily seen. Just that one small thing, and they're acting like it's the end of the world. And you people wonder why we don't believe you when you claim that no one wants to take our guns away. You do, but you know you're in the wrong, so you have to lie. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, why not hit like and subscribe? And to make sure I can keep producing content, support this channel on Patreon or Maker Support. And check out all the other great content here, like this video selected especially for you.